Good evening, everybody.
Welcome to our segment on Lost Mannerisms. I'm Forrest.
And I'm Carlos.
And you already know who he is, so we're not going to waste time here. We've noticed there's a lack of people who understand how to put out a fire. And I'm not going to get into all the technical aspects of how you're trying to either cut the air out of the equation to cool it off. We're just going to go over the basics of how to put a fire out. Because it's important for your house, protect your family, keep your stuff from burning down.
Absolutely. Most importantly, the stuff.
There's a couple different methods. There's water, smothering a fire. It all depends what you're doing with it. And hang on. I'm going to cut this out.
When you start talking again, be like, whoa, that fire got big. Holy smokes. I'm getting toasty.
Our fire grew a little bit, but one of the basic ways, and probably the way that everyone's going to put out a fire, is with a fire extinguisher. And if you really get into it, they have directions on them. Your basic method, though, is to pull the pin, aim your little hose, some of them don't have it, at the base of the fire. So don't aim at just the flames, aim at where the flames are coming from. And then you squeeze the trigger and you sweep your nozzle back and forth so you make sure the fire's out.
I was enjoying that.
And you continue to do this until the fire's out. So now we get our fire going again and move on to the next method. Oh, but really quick, an important thing to note. If you use a fire extinguisher in your house, for any reason, you need to get a new one. Because once you break the seal in them, you can kind of see how it's just leaking stuff out slowly. Once you break the seal, they lose pressure.
Thanks. I know I'm pretty hot.
An important thing to note about these fire extinguishers is they do different things. And usually it says it on there. There's different types, and certain ones are good for different fires. Your normal fire extinguisher is an ABC fire extinguisher, and it says on the label, A is essentially trash, wood, paper, B is liquid, C is electrical. So now, if all else fails, the primary thing you should turn to is a fire extinguisher. But, because you can put out a good amount of fire with a fire extinguisher. As you saw when I put this out before, I just gave it a quick little burst before it put out, and I started wasting it on spraying Carlos.
Thanks for that.
In an emergency situation, though, there's always a hose. And Carlos is going to be awesome and bring me the end of a hose. Now, he's going to get back out of frame and go over to the hydrant.
No, I don't think so.
And if you can't tell, I already got a bunch of water all over myself. So, it's almost the same method. You turn your hose on, and you don't want to go after a whole house fire with a garden hose, but if, like, you have a trash can outside, a good old little dumpster fire, and you want to put that out, you might be able to work with a hose. So, it's almost the same method. You take your hose, you turn it on, and you aim it at where the flames are. And now the good thing with the hose over a fire extinguisher is you can turn the water off. With a hose, you can keep spraying it until the material's cooled off. So you're not limited by the size of a fire extinguisher. With a hose, you're trying to cool it off until it's not burning. With a fire extinguisher, you're just trying to cut off the air supply. So, we don't have any more fire. Our wood's soaked.
It's pretty dead.
And we don't have any more ways to put it out, so that's just a quick rundown on how to extinguish a fire. And if you have a fire, the first thing you should do is call 911 and get a fire department on the way. But if it's something really small, put it out. Put it out as fast as you can. Save your stuff and protect your family. And that's just about anything you want to add, Carlos?
No, I would say that that's about it. I think number one priority, though, is stay safe and put it out responsibly if you can. You're lucky the water isn't on.